Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Zen. We're gonna do a overview of the channel again, and just take a look at some of the new things that I've put online, as well as looking at some of the future endeavors that we're gonna get started here. I got a bunch of things going on. New website with a buddy of mine, Dimitri, and a couple things that he doesn't even know about that's gonna be going on, including really cool things here for everybody. And as I always do this, I'm always putting the information out there, so anything that you guys want to learn how to do on your own, you can. And we're going to have a website real soon that's going to be offering really cool things like orgonite sandals and orgonite, and some ideas I have about Faraday cages. Um, Simple things like cleansing kits, tinctures, incense. Get into some things I know about candles and making some tarot cards. Actually, I've got a couple really interesting next level understanding of how the tarot works that I'm going to be able to implement into some cards that I have a few people helping me work on. And I have people that are actually wildcrafting and sourcing chaga mushrooms as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. Um, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of really awesome new things going on. But for here, I just wanted to tell everybody, go check out Reality Files. It's not completely in order quite yet, but we're getting it there. So yeah, check it out. My man is doing some real telekinesis. So anybody that really wants to know what's going on, this is what happens. This is how it works. So here's let's get back to the overview of the website, or the overview of the channel for a second. Then we'll get on to a little bit of the website. Um, Here we go. We'll just talk about what I've been putting on here, so anybody that's new to this gets a little bit of a clue to what I'm putting on here. So as always, if people have a question, I usually condense it together with a few other people's questions and make a short video about it. Just recently, we were talking about simulation theory, and I got into map making of consciousness, so you could understand where we are as a totality on this planet and who you are. I got into a little bit of. I always get into the media just as a view of see what's going on outside there in the matrix. We got into a larger master class that I did, and so everybody knows a lot of this work here. I have a lot more that I have kind of just stored up, and a lot more on the side. And there are some things here that are going to basically go under lock and key for a little bit. So I'd suggest getting in here now and taking a look at what you can, because in the future I'm going to be offering classes, um, and we'll be able to condense all this information into a really easy way, an easy path, and do coursework and things like that. Um, so again, here we go. We got a master class on here of condensing all the information that I've always tried to do. Take all the information that I've put out for the last 250 or so videos and make it as accessible as I can to everyone. We get into the raw food diet and what sun food is. We even kind of decoded the Trump and the Bible, and how that really is about magic and what this universe actually is. And as always, we dive into the moon matrix and what the moon has to do with everything, and the Saturnian salt matrix, and how that has a control over our consciousness as well as our bodies. We dive into and get a more in-depth understanding of how our minds work, and how many of the diseases that have occurred in society are actually manufactured. But it's again manufactured by people that don't understand that they're manufacturing it. So as I will always put out there to people, a lot of these systems in place, there's no one at the helm. There's no one in control. So all of you people that have these theories about all of the evil parts of the world and these orders of demonic spirits, yeah, they exist to a degree, but there's a lot of things running, a lot of programs running with no one at the helm to change it. And so this is all about finding yourself and finding people around us that can go and take the reins of these things and control consciousness, to teach you how to control your own mind, to be an architect of your own reality. And that's always what I'm teaching. So we go a little farther into this separation between the original matrix of the sun matrix and the moon matrix. Deeper look at astrology and what astrology really means. looking at humans as fire rather than the elementals the way that most people look at them in the four elements. I give a higher understanding and wisdom to there are three elements around us, just like there's three levels to reality, just like there's three densities, and looking at us as the alchemists, as the fire keepers. We even dive into some Terrence McKenna and Bruce Lee ideas, what magic really is, and even we explore the things a lot of people don't want to get into about different types of diets, and diets mean deities, and these deities as icons and archons of information, and how some of them are just a little misled. But as I will always say to people, a lot of the answers are correct, but the way that they got there is not always correct. There's always some tripping hazards on the way to the answer, and we try to file those down and make sure that nobody else has to trip over these things and understand what these terms mean and what these diets mean and who these deities are, whether they're food gods or they're gods outside of us or archons in the mental reality, or they're actually archonic structures outside of our perceived reality that we have in front of us that we can get into in the dream world. I even simplify the body down to the three basic structures that I think it functions as. That it seems to me that it was an easier way to look at the body as first a electrical system and then a liquid system, and then the skeletal body as the material system. Because there's a really big thing, a big understanding that if we can take things and break it down to three, not a triangle but a straight line. This is something that I teach much different than a lot of other people. Like people like to offer you an idea about a triangle. The triangle is well and good, but if we look at it in a straight line, we can start to isolate ourselves as the prime creator of things. I'm even getting into some of my stories about synchronicity, what parasites really are, and how to compress your ideas, what a wishing well is, and the magical use of pennies and copper and different types of metals. And this is just from the last week. So if any of you don't understand how hard we're going at this, like how much information I'm putting out here, this is just from 7 days worth of work right here. We get into even more gallons, like little like things that a lot of people aren't even aware of that may or may not exist, but we still look at it with a keen eye and try to observe it from a way that we can, offer people solutions. Once again, we've been getting into the moon a lot lately and explaining that. Even a little bit of CERN and what the magic is at CERN and what it offers us as a physical material construct to show us our consciousness. And we dive in a little bit and look at the flat earth and what it is to have a globe or flat earth consciousness and what those models look like. Not just from the debate about, hey, do we actually live on a ball or do we actually live on a flat earth, but we get a little deeper into what that means to you from your thought forms, from what you're generating information from, whether it's a single or a double pole system, whether it's a system of a sun outside of you or it's actually located underneath your feet, because it changes everything if you change the way that you perceive where you stand. We get even deeper into drug use and how capitalism can control these types of things. What it means to spin a tornado, and what a tornado even has to do with a capitalistic mindset and imploding energy upon self, which takes you into a singularity. We even discuss how the brain really works, how psychology and magic function together, because there's 3 levels to that. I suggest to get into that. There's the 3 types of magic that are occurring. Ones that occur in the spiritual realm, ones that occur in the mental realm, and magic that occurs in the physical constructs. And we dive in even farther to the brain and how people have been trained to think through rote methods, repetition learning, and how to get outside of that to really look at how we actually learn in the real world. Inorganic and organics, this is a big study that we like to get into. Understanding how hypnosis occurs and these different symbols that occur in nature, as well as the inorganic constructs that we see as the cubic nature. Get into spiral rituals and what spirituality means, Even ideas about this, it's a very hot topic for a lot of people these days, blood over intent. I've explored this on about 5 or 6 different videos, and I think that's very important for people to understand what that is, to understand what that is. Uh, we get into word crafting a lot because, as they say, in the beginning was the word, and if you know, words flipped around is a sword, and this is why we can use a sword in many different ways. Understanding always that memory comes of 2 words, mem and ori, meaning water and light, and what that light means coming out of the darkness. It's a very interesting revelation of what light is coming out of the darkness. That was a fun one to do. Circles, squares, magic clocks, and time. To understand really what it means to be a Time Lord, to stand outside of time, and to actually make time. To make it. People spend time, people spend money, but making something is completely different. It's creating something. It's the difference between these ideas of creation and evolution that a lot of people have in their minds, and it's really not even a battle. It's actually of the same source material. And as always, we dive into salt and lucid dreams, and how we can reboot our brains and our environments, meaning the feng shui of what's around us. And one mimics the other, and we can use the outside world to influence our mind, and our mind to influence the outside world, so we can actually travel outside into other realms. We played around with the rice experiment again. Disease and vaccinations, where they come from, fasting, and obviously urine therapy. I don't even like the word therapy so much, but why there's so much power within you and within urine. And that is something that is free to everyone, but most people won't take it as an option. But anybody that has knows the power of it. We get farther into sigil magic and what the church has to do with magic and having an altar there, and what you are as a wizard. And anybody that practices magic everyone is a magician. It's just how much do you put energy into it and practice it. You're making things happen all day, all the time anyways, but how much focus do you have? I blueprinted everything out for how the breath works with the fingers, with the breath in the nose and out of the mouth, how it links up with the seasons, with DNA, with the brain waves. I really broke this down for everyone in a very major way. The 4 keys. Telekinesis and psychokinesis. My man Dimitri here is showing you full bore what he can do with telekinesis. Dude ain't playing around at all. He'll be levitating soon if he wants to. Yeah, this is only since back till New Year's. What else we got? Oh, I tell you about what calendars are, and what the Mayans knew that we don't know, what their calendar actually means, and how their calendar works as a clock for consciousness, and how you can make your own clock as well, and especially if you know what season it is and what the New Year's really is. I even give you guys a little bit of a feeling of how to participate and break soul contracts, to dictate your own and to release yourself from old ones. More of the brain and system rebooting, and understanding how the reality matrix of even what people see as grimoires, which are actually someone like, say, Stan Lee, who writes down an X-Men comic, that these people within Marvel Comics and these others, they're showing you something of the universe. They're showing you grimoires. They're showing you things they might actually play within and exist in another reality. And they're also showing you something as archetypes. And I explain how that works as well. We get into church altars again. The Force and the 4 elements. It's the 4s. The difference between blue bloods, red bloods, what copper has to do with things, how language is in control of so many things here, but silence is in even more control than that, intoning. Talk further about food, how aromacology works, what oil has to do with things, and why the nose knows gnosis. We get into farther understanding of what mandalas and Wiccans are. Even the Wiccans that practice these things don't know what I'm telling you here. Most of them don't, and if they do, they're not sharing it, but I'm sharing it here. It's free. Free gifts here. Come get them. Talk about alchemy and alcohol and people's confusion about what alcohol is. Urine therapy is always what your hair has to do with your linkage to the past as well as the future. Shamanism and psychological manipulations is always a hot topic of where we live, because so many people have been put underneath spells that they actually recite the spells that they've been told prior because they can't make new ones. They don't know how to get outside of a clock or a cloaking mechanism that controls their consciousness, but we teach how to do that. Gematria, we show what gematria is, not just from one level of what the evildoers are doing, but how it works on both sides. And it's not even two sides, because as people will often say, there are two sides to a coin. I would dare you to show me two sides to a coin without looking at the third side. There aren't two sides to anything. It's an impossibility. A coin, there's a third side to it. And in fact, that third side isn't even a side at all, because it's a circle. So there's infinite possibilities within a coin. And a coin has to do with the kings and the Cohens and the priestcrafts and all of this. And what this has to do with electricity, who Pan was. Show you about what karma really is, how grammar works, the hexing that occurs, that witches hex you, and what hexes have to do with Saturn. And the hexagonal structures of beehives, and what that has to do with why honey is used and why wax is used in burning candles. Yeah, what else we got here? Well, we need to really know about water, where it comes from, and having a little more respect for distilled knowledge and distilled waters. Static charges, and this even gets into the devices that I always show people how to do the things that I'm going to be offering. So if you want to, as we get into this future endeavors here of opening up a website that offers you physical physical things that you can put your hands on to solve some of your problems, we're going to be offering that, but we always offer how it's done. So if you want to do it yourself, you can. Knowledge is first. We give you the knowledge so you can apply it if you want. And if not, we can always trade the energy and the moon matrix. We can always trade money for it. We get into even farther what the occult is and what it has to do with everything that's going on with marijuana these days. Always talking about magic, cleaning, using Kabbalah and the Master Tonic. Carrots, apple, beets, apple, lemons, and apple. 3 colors of apple, carrots. This is a wonderful cleansing tonic for your blood. Farther into Tesla coils, orgonite, and what Magneto has to do with things. Bioluminescence, one of my favorite subjects. How to make you glow. There's charging your urine using a bowl. Talk about what cancer really is. Pentagrams. Once again, astral travel. No, we're only here in a month of what I've been showing you. I guess I'll stop here, so if this isn't enough to convince you to come take a look at what we're doing, I will remind you that a lot of these things are going to get either chopped down, remade, and put into smaller, shorter videos. We'll probably up the quality of the video, and then we'll be putting these things together into taking this 200 videos and turning it into a few hours. We might even think about doing a movie, and I've always had or a documentary, and I've always had a few books in the works. So we'll be putting all of that information together so you guys can get a hold of that. And yeah, you guys check out this this website, Reality Files. He's got work down here that yeah, wonderful stuff. And this is just brand new, so you're seeing it from the basically from the beginning. So Reality Files, go check it out, y'all. Cheers. Talk soon.